in Rockville, Maryland, and graduated from Perry High School. He's a Navy veteran, having served 8 years as a hospital corpsman and retired after 35 years as a healthcare executive and went on for 10 more years as a nonprofit exec. Joined Rotary over 30 years ago and has the distinction of having been president of 2 clubs, one in Overland Park, Kansas, and another at Southern Frederick County Rotary Club in Frederick. He's in his 2nd year as the District 7620 Rotary Foundation chair. And as district governor in 2018-19, he set a record on total giving to the foundation. And as the DRFC for 2019-20, he again led the district to a record level of giving to the Rotary Foundation. And it was my pleasure to serve as Rich's chairperson of the District Grants Committee. Rich will chair the $1 million dinner that the district's having in 2020, heads up. And he served in a wide variety of club and district positions, a Paul Harris Society member, a Sustaining Paul Harris Fellow, a Rotary Major Donor, and a Bequest Society member. He and his wife, Susan, who's also a Rotarian, have 3 daughters and 4 grandchildren. Please welcome our District Rotary Foundation Chair, Rich Glover.
Thank you very, very much. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
I wish I had heard your whole speaker. That was outstanding. Well, again, thank you for the opportunity to kind of review for some of us and some learning, maybe for some of us newer Rotarians. One of the reasons why I started the 5-part series on the Rotary Foundation is because you all may have experienced as well. Every time you go to a training, you get this fire hose approach, and you walk out of there going like, I don't even know where to start. So we divided it up, and it's been very successful. So we'll probably continue to repeat the 5 series once or twice a year. And another factor is that after 3 years, we have approximately 45% turnover of Rotarians. So that's another reason why we believe we need to have ongoing training, education, and re-awareness. And so I picked my second part of the series because that seems to be the best baseline to talk about the mechanics of how the foundation works. So we all know how important the foundation is. You know, we have the ability around the world to be respected at very high levels because of our stewardship of our monies and of the projects themselves that are sustainable, measurable, and impactful. One of the things I think is important for all of us to know is that we're a big deal. This is an award-winning organization worldwide. All the ratings of several entities always rank us in the top 1%. So when we are talking to our colleagues, we're thinking about our own giving spirit. It's really comfortable to know that for many, many years, 12 plus years on, we've been ranked number 1 of over 1 million charities. So you can see this slide, and you should be feeling very proud that our monies are being handled very well.
Rich, can you go to full screen?
I can. Usually when I do this, it just focuses on my.
Well, let me not disrupt things.
No, let me try something here. I'm going to go back to the advanced and make sure that it did what it was supposed to do. Is that better?
Not the full screen though. There you go.
All right.
That
Yay.
Thank
Boy,
you.
Isn't this fun? Thank you, Barry, for calling that to my attention. This is a slide that I found that I think is very interesting. People, when I first started talking about fundraising campaigns and this, that, and the other, they go, what the heck are you thinking? Well, I thought you would be interested to know that every time there's a world event, there is obviously a drop in our contributions, which is because we're all trying to take care of ourselves. But then you will see after each one of these, there is a substantial increase in giving because that's what Rotarians do. Well, once they get their own feet back on the ground, we see these large spikes in giving every year. And if Laurie Menzel was with me on the phone, she would confirm with you that our foundation is doing very, very well. And once we get through this little bit of a dip here, we expect to see do what Rotarians always do. So I thought it might be interesting to maybe relieve some concerns about how Rotarians respond to crises. As you all probably know, there are several ways of giving. We're going to talk today specifically about the annual fund. We're not going to focus as much on the other endowment funds, Polio Plus and like, though I will have a mention toward the end of our presentation to bring it into context. We're going to talk about the annual fund because the difference between the annual fund and all the endowments is that the annual funds is what we do annually and change people's lives today. When we start getting into the endowments and whatever, we are donating, contributing to endowment funds and the like to change lives forever. So I use the kind of the apple concept where this is a basket of apples and these are the apple trees that we're planting today to take care of tomorrow. This is a slide that it seems to be one of the best we've been able to find to try and simplify how the money flows in the annual fund and as well as the others. The annual fund is the engine that drives our district every year. If the Rotarians don't continue to give to the annual fund, we're going to continue seeing decrease amount of money coming back every 3 years from our giving. Those are the funds that are 100% going toward our community and global grants. So giving is very important, and to talk to your financial advisors where you are in life and your wealth or so forth, where you might consider funding the annual fund as well as all of our other funds in a way that we continue to increase the amount of money that comes back to us every year, so we have more and more grants. I'll give you some numbers in a minute. And right now, though, I'm going to use just hypothetical numbers. Let's say that every Rotarian in our district contributes $20. All those monies that go into the annual fund is all we're going to talk about here. We're not going to talk about Polio Plus at this moment or the funds. So we're going to say that all of our monies at $20 a month go in the annual fund. That equals $516,000. All of our monies go into a program called SHARE. This is managed by the Rotary Foundation. At the end of 3 years, 50% of that money comes back to us at the district level, and 50% goes to the World Fund. Okay? When I receive those 50% monies, I split it. Half of it goes to community and half of it goes to global. So that's how the split works down the chain of command, if you will, to where we have money to spend. Now, don't get too excited about the $129,000. As Dr. Berry knows, we are nowhere near that. This is a hypothetical. As I've mentioned, and I'm going to go to some numbers in a second. So every Rotarian every year is so important. Or even if we're talking about $20 a person a year, because that is the engine that's going to drive our grants, as I've already mentioned. So now let's look at some numbers. These are real numbers. And we're going to look at the top line, for example. Remember that in 3 years, I'm going to receive monies from the Rotary Foundation that were earned 3 years ago. So in my particular year, we received $348,719. That was split 50-50, as we talked about on the graph. And then when I get it, I split it 50-50 between, your pictures are covering my screen, so I'm hoping you see what I'm seeing. Over here behind your pictures, trying to get you all out of the way here. You've got 25% that goes into the community grants and 25% goes into global. Now, you can imagine now, if you didn't already know this, $87,000 is not spread very far among 62 clubs. So we're really struggling every year to get enough money to our community, because our giving per member, if we divide it 2,200 members that were in the year of Ken's year, that is $12 per member per month. That's why we have these kinds of numbers. Just as an example, if every single Rotarian in the district contributed $20, that's $240 a year. And in this particular year, we're going to use the hypothetical of 2151 as the number of members that are in Rotary, which happens to be our number now. Look how far up the numbers jump, 87 to $129,000. That is with just every Rotarian every year contributing $20 a month or $240 a year. Now, we all know that some people can't at this stage of their life, if they're the young kids coming out of college and whatever, $20 may be a lot of money for them. Of course, the argument is they don't have a problem spending $20 in some other kinds of activities, but it's all part of our job to inspire our members and get them to be thinking in the spirit and the art of giving, by art being that we're understanding how the foundation works and what our return on our investment is. 96% of all the monies that we contribute come back to us. The rest of it is for operations and, you know, the profit loss based on the year and the stock market and whatever. But we have a very, very esteemed financial group that runs all of this for us. That's why we're ranked so high in the world. So back to the point is that you can see right now we're getting 87. We got 87 in my year. We got 84 in Barton's year, and we're going to get 85 in Jimmy's year. And then next year in Geetha's year, she will receive 80,000 approximately. These numbers will fluctuate because we have not retained earnings. We have interest that comes off of a lot of our endowments that is added to this, and it's somewhere around $7,000 a year. So in the end, Geetha will probably see $87,000 from monies that we get from interest on our endowments from our district. So while we're on this chain of numbers, if you're not familiar with Rotary Direct, that is an easy way, and I have a form I'll show you if you don't already know it, where people can sign up for automatic debits, whether it be charge cards, whether it be their checking account, and after 30 years, I'm not a wealthy person, but after 30 years, after giving a little bit every year, I'm participating in every funding possibility there is, because it was just a little bit a month over the period of 30 years. And now my resume sounds pretty impressive, but that's because I learned what the art and spirit of giving was, and tried to inspire my colleagues on the giving and grant culture. So you can see the more and more we give on average, and again, there's some people, it's kind of like the 80-20 rule, you know, 20% of the people give 80% of the contributions or workforce, whatever you want to use the analogy. And you can see how these monies continue to go up with just a little more giving every month, those who can. I also would like some time to have maybe a presentation just on the Employer Society. This is where people contribute $85 a month, which means they're contributing $1,020 a year. And look, this is going to be impossible. You never want to say that, but if we were, every person in the district were giving at a level that our average giving was 85. Again, our average giving per member per district, we would be talking about $1 million coming back every year. Can you imagine how many grants we're going to be giving out in our community and around the world? So I thought the numbers would interest you on the impact of our giving in every club by every Rotarian. This is what our monthly report looks like. This is the district one, but you have one, your officers, your Rotary Foundation chairs and your presidents have the authority code that they can go in and get these reports. So we're going to look at Barton's year, 1920. As you saw on that orange yellow graph, was that we got approximately 352,000 from our club members that contributed to our annual fund. Annual fund has an whole column of their own. At the same time, our district is very impressive in its other areas of giving. Polio Plus, our goal in the district every year is $45 per year. I say $45 per year. My club in particular, they all filled out a Rotary Direct form, so they're going to get $45 a year that comes out in October of every year. And we as our club have matched every dollar that our members have given us. So my small club of 33, each member gave $45. Some other people sent in some matching monies, and we had like $4,500 that came out of my little club between the $45 a year per member and the matches from a couple other members. It's not required. It's just that my club thought that was a pretty cool idea. So our district contributed $99,000 in our Polio Plus this year. Again, that's close to that $45 per year. And so our zone and international recognize that we met that goal. Other funds are all kinds of endowments that I'm going to talk about in the legacy funds. Barry mentioned the $1 Million Dinner. I'm not really promoting it as a $1 Million Dinner. I'm promoting it as a legacy fund campaign because there's a wide range of ways that you can contribute that don't cost you any money today. On my statistics that Barry quoted, my wife and I each have an endowment because we each took $25,000 out of our life insurance and passed it on to one of the 7 focus areas. And it didn't cost me anything. Where I am in my life, I don't need as much life insurance as I used to. Another thing is that we gave some cash because we're at a point in time in our lives where I could come up with a little cash. And that was put into another type of endowment where our money goes to mother child. But there's 7 focus areas. That's happened to be the one my wife and I picked. So when you look at the people who are giving money to the legacy funds, $1 million is what our district contributed last year to the Rotary Foundation. That is impressive. It's impressive for us. It's actually not at the top of the food chain by any stretch of the imagination. When the people do the legacy dinner, like we're going to do, and Barry mentioned 2020, it's actually November 2021. We're not going to have a foundation dinner this year, but we are going to have a virtual recognition coming up in a few weeks. But the legacy fund is going to be combined with our annual recognition next November, when we hope things are cleaned up. We've already got a venue and everything. And all the districts around the country are collecting anywhere between $3 and $4 million through legacy fund contributions during their $1 Million Dinner. That's why they started nicknaming it the $1 Million Dinner. In our particular case, we're going to have this legacy fund for 1 year. So last month we started the programs to the clubs that talk about legacy funds. Then we have fireside chats and other things. And there's a full presentation on that if ever you all would be interested in me giving that presentation, whether it be in a club meeting or a fireside chat for those who think there might be something that fits in their financial plans and so on. And then there are individual consultations after that when you say, I really want to do this. And that goes above me because Rotary is extremely extremely strong on confidentiality. So it gets to the large level and her colleagues at Rotary Foundation when you're actually at the point of wanting to execute some form of plan in the legacy funds. So let's get back to the annual funds because that is the engine that drives our granting every year. So you might be interested in seeing this report because your presidents and foundation chairs can look at this and see how you're doing every year. You're going up, you're going down, and so forth, and that in your giving. I mentioned a minute ago the Rotary Direct Form. My club, because they were inspired by the Rotary found the Polio Plus presentation that I gave, they said, gosh, we'll fill out this form. So they go in here and they check off eradicating polio. They check that box and then they check the box. I mean, they go in here and they write $45 and that's going to be annually. And they either give a check, a credit card. You can even go wire if you wanted. And this is the last time they're going to have to worry about that $45. It's automatically going to go into our district and give us credit and also give you all points credit. This is probably the form that you are used to seeing. If I can get on the right one. This is the form that you all usually fill out if you're contributing toward a Paul Harris Fellow or something like that. So this is an all-purpose contribution form. I put an arrow on here, and Barry will be able to support me on this issue. A lot of people are contributing monies to their clubs for the cash side of a global grant. What they need to be doing is filling out this form, putting in the amount of cash they want to go toward that grant, and check off this box that says global grant number. It automatically goes through your account, credits you for that money. They automatically send it to the global grant, and the global grant is supported that way. And you get points, you get credit, and you have a tax deduction as well. A lot of people don't really care about it. They've got the $1,000, they want to put it toward a grant, and they don't care about the recognition or anything. That's great. But those who do wish to have that noted contribution, this form, this multi-purpose form, gives you the chance of doing that automatically, and you don't have to go through all the other circles to make sure your money gets to the appropriate grant. So this is the general form. And if you ever call me or you call your Rotary Foundation chair, most of the time they will fill this form out for you, and then you just provide the finance that you want to donate. That way there's consistency in the way the form is filled out. And also we see that it gets to the right people, which is at the Rotary International Rotary Foundation office. So that's your general contribution form. You may be deciding that you had a great year last year in your business, and you want to give $1,000 to one of the 7 focus areas. The new one, as you know, the number 7 is the environment. You know, you might want to put some money into that. But anyways, these forms will change because they're going to add the environment on this. Oh, no, it's not on there yet. So that's the general contribution form. Every one of you, when you go onto My Rotary, and if you're not on My Rotary, which is different from DAC-DB, that's something that the club ought to focus on as individuals. You can go and look at your individual report and see what your contributions are, and it's real time within 48 hours. Once they receive a check money, it's entered right in there and it reflects full time on your report. No one else can see your report. So it's very confidential. We've been mentioning a little bit about the other ways to give. And so we're going to move from the annual funds to the endowment funds. Some of the other ways to give as well is the sustaining member. A lot of us are sustaining members. We give $100 or more to the annual fund, and it's just another category that they put you in. Paul Harris Fellow, most in your club, I think you're like very full of Paul Harris Fellows, except for a couple. And that's where they've donated $1,000 to the annual fund or to the Rotary Foundation. As you can see here, annual fund, Polio Plus, you still get credit for that $1,000. If all the $1,000 goes into Polio Plus, you will not see it in the annual fund. You remember that those are 2 different funds, but you do get credit on your total giving. Benefactor is very popular because it's easy. That's the first thing that I did in 1975. I donated $1,000. I just filled out this form, and $1,000 came out of my insurance policy. Called my insurance guy, and he changed. We changed my beneficiaries, and you can give up to $8,000 in it, but a lot of people just do the $1,000 and they become a benefactor. So that's an easy one. The Bequest Society is where in the Legacy Fund campaign, about 80% of the money that goes into that $1 million plus pool that we collect or we get pledged for the legacy funds is in the Bequest Society. It goes up past level 5, and there are a number of our Rotarian colleagues that have some significant wealth in their investments, their investment funds and things like that. We have a lady in our district that's is retired, and she gives $100,000 a year to the Bequest Society directed towards certain funds. So she doesn't pay taxes. So there's all kinds of creative ways that you can be engaged in a legacy fund and not cost you any money today. Major donors are where you have an accumulation of donations above 10,000, level 1, and so on, as you can see. And we have quite a few major donors in our district. Arch Clump, we have 3 Arch Clumps. Those are people that have contributed over $250,000 to the Arch Clump. There's a little over 1,000, I think. I haven't looked at the numbers recently, but it's like 1,000 some odd in the world that are involved in the Arch Clump Society. And as you can see, they're very, very different levels. And yes, there are a number of platinum circle. I say less than a handful, but there are. There's one that in India, he has a $60 million endowment. But I probably won't be writing a check in the near future for that one. We've talked about points in the past, but I'm not sure if you all are currently up to date or not. I've got your forms here somewhere, but you're going to see in your monthly reports that are only being seen by the TRF chair and the president and your names would be there, your club name would be up there, and so forth and so on. This happens to be a real example from one of our clubs in our district. They have 54 members, and you can see that they have some very large amounts of ongoing dollars contributed toward the foundation and are much different levels. But what's most fascinating is that they have collected 43,000 points. That's the club level. That does not count the individual level. And so what are you going to do with these points? You may not even know that you had them, but dollar for dollar, you get points. And what my wife and I and my daughter do, we each give out 1,000 points to give an honorary Paul Harris to someone in our community. Over the last couple of years, for example, I'm not going to speak for my wife and my daughter, but I've given, they've given as well, but I give mine to a policeman, the lady who did the blessings in the backpack, and people like that. And then I gave one to the speaker that we had last year at our annual dinner, recognition dinner, and it was out of my points. So how better to spread the word by recognizing people in our community with our points, and or someone within our club at the end of every year who's done something extraordinary, whether it be a global grant or whatever, and we want to recognize them, and you can get points to award them for that as well. Some clubs actually award, they will collect 500 points from a number of members, and they give out first-time Paul Harris Fellows. And that's really the only time you should be giving out Paul Harris Fellows, honorary Paul Harris Fellows to members, only in the case that they're first-time Paul Harris and you're trying to inspire them and getting them to appreciate the spirit and art of giving and how it comes back to us in 3 years. So these points is something we can have a conversation about that if there's something you all have a question about. I mentioned earlier, and now we have a picture. This is a brand new graph where they have added the supporting the environment, which is our 7th focus area. So you can contribute toward the annual funds and legacy funds. You can do both. There's just a wide range of ways you can contribute to the share program, which is what comes back to us, the World Fund, where they match 100% of our dollars, any one of the areas of focus. And of course, the peace centers, we have 6 around the world. So just a picture of the icons, the official icons, and the name of those 7 focus areas. Everybody seems to like to know about the money and where the money's coming and going. We have a financial report from 1819. It takes about a year to get it audited and everything. So this is a fresh look at it as well. You can look at this and see exactly how much money in the millions are going to each one of our focus areas. And last but not least, this is a chart that you can literally click on any one of those and it takes you right straight to my Rotary and the topic, whatever it is that you want to know. And this is the 3 strategies and focus that I am working with all of our clubs on a particular area that they want to talk about, whether it be a fireside chat, talking about large ways to contribute, whatever. This is all online. And if you don't already know this, when you go on our district website and you click on the foundation tab, and then you click on the resources, all of my presentations are up there, including this one. So you can look at it at your leisure, and you can look at any one of the five series that I did. There's also a full program up there for the $1 million dinner next year. Again, we're calling the Rotary Legacy Fund campaign. That's what I refer it to. She's got the nickname $1 Million Dinner, but that is all up there on my training resources as well. So I've blown through this pretty fast because I knew I had limited amount of time. But if our president still has time and I can entertain some questions, that would be wonderful.
Yep, go ahead. We've got some time for questions.
Just to let you know, I show you how easy it is to donate. I while you were talking, I went to the Rotary Direct as you described, and I put my contribution in for a yearly amount. So I was able to do it. I just did it, and I'll be giving it every year. It's $1,000.
Fantastic. Now, if you're doing that, are you in a Paul Harris Society?
I just put it for the annual fund.
Okay, but through Paul Harris Society?
I'm already Paul Harris. Yes.
But I mean Paul Harris Society.
Oh, I don't.
If you're doing the $1,000 a month, you've already qualified.
No, 1,000 a year.
Oh, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. If you're doing 1,000 a year, you've already qualified to be in the Paul Harris Society.
Okay.
And,
Right.
I will see that happens if in fact you didn't check off that box. For example, here's how you would do the $1,000 a year. You would use this particular form here and fill it out the exact same way, but you check off the 500, you check off the annual fund, and you will get a Paul Harris Society chevron that goes underneath your Paul Harris pen. If you were a major donor, you would put the Paul Harris Society underneath your major donor pen. But I will see that happens when I see, because I get notified within 24 hours once this hits their books.
And Steve, I think that brings the members of the club in the Paul Harris Society to either 3 or 4.
I can
So that's
tell
great.
you, for the Paul Harris Society, you mean?
Yes.
That's fantastic. I don't have that particular spreadsheet in front of me, but I can tell you that you have 17 Paul Harris, 2 are major donors, and I haven't done the calculations on the Paul Harris Society yet, but that's great news, Barry. You would know that.
Carla Satinsky is a Paul Harris Society member, Steve.
And before I forget, Steve, thank you very much for that testimonial and what you just did. That's so impressive in the theme I've been wishing to see, and that is that spirit, and then learning the art of giving that fits your pocketbook and whatever. And I couldn't have had, this has not happened before, so you've been a first, and thank you very much for.
I just thought I'd show how. I mean, I just went right to the website, and it was actually, you just log in, to Rotary International, which I did, and it took like what, a minute and a half to do it.
That's amazing. Great. I tell you, I want to record that. That's going to be a great testimonial for our
Richard makes it worth getting up at 7:30 on Friday morning to hear that, right?
Yeah. Oh, I just enjoy the fellowship anyways. So that's great. Any other questions that I can answer? Don't hesitate to go back up on the website, the district website, and at your leisure, go through the presentations. Each one of them are an hour. That includes Q&A. And I think they have recordings up there of me doing the presentations as well. But if you're a visual person, the PowerPoints are fairly explained. Oh, not only that, I think they even show my notes on the bottom in some of them. See right here, there's a place down here to put notes. And I put some notes in there in case you're a visual person and don't want to hear my voice. I'm going to look up here. And see if there's one.
Rich?
Yes, sir.
This is a very impressive presentation, and it shows me, when you have an organization like Rotary that's been around a long time, and you've got very sophisticated structure and infrastructure for handling all of the funding and the display on the website and everything, and it can be useful just in general for us that are involved with other nonprofits and how we can handle this stuff. And one question I had is, does Rotary do anything about charitable gift annuities or some of these estate
Yes,
type of things?
yes, very much so. Those are in the legacy funds. And if you are interested in more information, we have meeting periodically in a fireside chat mode. If you already know, because of whether you're the financial guru or you have a financial advisor or both, we are the people above me will walk through that with you and to show you the tax benefits and the return on the investment benefits and how it lives into perpetuity. So all the legacy funds live forever. And I was using that analogy of the basket of apples for annual fund and using the planting the trees to produce apples forever example.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, just touch base with me and I will, you can either join a regular fireside chat or we can hook you up with Laurie individually. And again, by the way, there's something, since we had time to get into the legacy funds a little bit more than I usually do. This campaign is over 12 months, now 11 months more to go. Every one of these contributions can be spread over 3 years. That doesn't usually happen. But because this is a campaign, say for example, like I put in $10,000 for my monies to go to mother child, but I'm paying it in thirds. I'm paying it in every 3 years. So those are the kind of things that are part of this campaign that make the giving more palatable and more doable for those who need to spread it out. Some people don't need to spread it out, but I'm just telling you that this campaign, once you commit to a gift, then you can spread it over 3 years. But at the time of the campaign, it's credited 100%. So that's how we get to that 1, 2, or 3 million level.
So Rich, this is Bob Sonowane. I have a question about the form that you just presented, which is pretty impressive. I have been a member for the last 4 or 5 years, but I never seen this form are marketed, in terms of the membership across the district. I don't know how that we missed it. So I don't think we are making an appeal to our members here using that form. I never seen that form before. So I'm very thankful for making excellent presentation. So how you market this to the rest of the members in the district level?
A great question. That's my job. It's to do what we're doing right now, is have a 30, 40 minute conversation and share with you the tools. My job is to create awareness and inspire in the art of giving. Right now, we were talking about, we were talking a moment ago about, I'm trying to find the chart. This chart here, you can see this curve, the curve on this chart. From here to there, they only earn $1 million. Today, we are sitting on a 1.2 billion with a B endowment. That is living in perpetuity. And what we're contributing to in our annual funds, in our legacy funds, is to create that endowment so big that Rotary will live forever and ever and ever. The forms, again, everything is amazing on Google. If you wanted to find the form, say, for Paul Harris Society, you would go to Google or whatever your engine is, and you would type in Rotary and what you want. I would type in Rotary, Paul Harris Society. You click on that, it goes right straight to the form. It goes right straight to the description, and you can pick whatever it is you want to know about. You can go to the description first, then you can go to the form, and you fill it out online like Steve just did. But whatever it is you are interested in, you can even, I have a full legacy presentation if ever you all want to hear it. Again, because it's not a rush, because we've got till next October to review all this stuff. So this is not This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. We're taking our time and doing it right. But whatever it is that you want to know, you can even type in Rotary Legacy Funds, and it'll go right straight to that, and it'll show you the form, it'll show you the description, and it'll give you a wide range of options for you to look at. Charitable trusts, IRAs, that's what one of our colleagues in one of our Rotary clubs does. These are the interests that she's earned on her IRAs. She turns around, gives it to Rotary. She doesn't have to pay taxes on it, and she's putting money into something that'll last forever.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So thank you, Rich. It was wonderful. As a reminder to our club, Bob Fangmeyer, who is our foundation chair, does fill out that form for everybody, because we've I guess for as long as, I don't know how many years, 40 plus years, we've been doing that 5-in-1 raffle at the holiday time. So Bob has been collecting everybody's donation to the foundation. He fills out that form and does send it in. So if you've been sending your donation to Bob, he does take care of that. But of course, you are welcome to fill out the form yourself and send it in directly to RI. You can go either way.
And Bob does get the information on the individual donations, just as Rich pointed out.
Yep.
So our foundation chair does in fact have that information for you if you'd like to contact Bob.
Exactly.
Thank
So
you so much, Rich.
Thank you all so much. It was great seeing you all. And hopefully we'll be back to normalcy, if there's such a thing anymore. But I look forward to that day as well.
awesome.
Don't
Thank
hesitate
you
to
very
call me.
much.
Anything
Thank you.
you need to know, just call